to take us to the break, we're delighted to have an exceedingly polite conman. Sir.
Hey everybody. Before we start, I just want to say it is such an honor for all of you to be able to see me speak tonight. You're in for a treat. My name is Kouros. I'm going to talk about lying. I first realized that honesty is not the best policy when I was just a little boy. My family was invited to a dinner party. At the conclusion of the meal, the host turned to me and said, "What did you think?" To which I responded in my very earnest 6-year-old voice, "Your cooking tastes like diarrhea." My remarks were not well received, and later that night, after a thorough and frankly well-deserved spanking, I came to the following conclusion: honesty's for suckers. I learned a very important lesson that night about refraining from telling the truth. It was many years later, though, that I understood the enormous value of affirmatively deceiving others. I won't get into all the details, but basically a security guard accused me of shoplifting a candy bar. And in my defense, I said that I was merely stealing to feed a starving child. Now, by starving child, I mean I was 10 years old and I hadn't eaten in a couple of hours. Don't laugh, you guys. My blood sugar was dangerously low that day. And the guy bought it, and I realized, you know what? I have a real gift here. I need to nourish and grow it. So it's no surprise that I eventually ended up at law school, where I really honed my craft. This actually is my business card, and I know what you guys are thinking. And you're right, it is totally badass. I actually use this font for everything, even in my legal briefs. I feel like it sends a really powerful message to my opposing counsel, namely, this guy is crazy, settle the case now or he will slay you and drink your blood. In addition to the law, I'm also a magician and a mind reader, an art form entirely predicated on the act of deceiving others. So bottom line, I lie a lot, and I'm really good at it. I'm not proud of it. Actually, I am proud of it. You should take pride in your work. My business is lying, and business is good. So, how do you tell when someone's lying? Well, first you need to know what someone is like when they are not lying. You need to establish a baseline. How does someone normally talk? Fast, slow? Do they move their hands? Or do they sit still? Once you have a baseline, then you look for variations from the baseline. It's that simple. A lot of people mistakenly believe that there are these tells, these silver bullets that let you know when someone's lying. Like, for example, folding your arms. But you need to look at context. For example, my fingertips, frequently cold. My armpits, frequently warm. If sticking my fingers in my armpits is wrong, I don't want to be right. So, look at the entire context. You have to look for clusters of variations of behaviors. That's how you tell when someone's lying, when you have those variations from the baseline. That said, there are some things that are fairly reliable indicators of someone's emotions that they're thinking. Like, for example, telling the difference between a real smile and fake smile. The real smile here is big. You can tell because of the muscles around the eyes and the cheeks. Those involuntarily contract and produce, crow's feet when someone's actually feeling joy. This is because our physiology is linked to our emotions. When you're feeling happy, it will naturally leak out into your face into that kind of expression. This is consistent with a phenomenon known as duping delight, which is when you're in the middle of telling a lie, you get this rush knowing that you're getting away with a lie. Why? Probably because you're a terrible person. But the point is that for a brief moment, you'll see a smile flash across someone's face. It's called a micro-expression. By the way, the real smile here is A. How many people got that? Yeah, put your hands down. No one likes to show off, okay? It's rude. So here's a game you can play to test your baseline behavior reading skills. Grab a friend. Ask that friend 5 questions that require them to access their visual memory. For example, what was the color of your childhood home? What was on the walls when you first walked in? What color was your parents' bedroom? And then watch their eyes. Track their eyes. Before each answer, you'll notice that their eyes will probably move up and to the right. That's correlated with accessing visual memory. Now, your friend may be different, so just establish a baseline. What do their eyes do? Then ask them 3 more questions and instruct them to lie to you on one of those questions. Don't tell them, they shouldn't tell you when they're lying. What you do is you watch their eyes, and the one time their eyes move differently, that's when they're lying. For most people, it'll be up to left or straight ahead. That's correlated with constructing a visual image rather than fabricating one. Now, once you know your friend's baseline, don't tell them what you know. You can use that in the future. You're gonna be like, "Hey, where were you last night?" They'll be like, "I was at the grocery store." You'd be like, "Liar, you at the strip club, you pervert," or something like that. I don't know. It's freestyle here, people. Your conversation may be different. Anyway, I'm talking a lot about the face right now, but the thing is, people are least aware of their lower body, and that's where a lot of the leakage happens. So check people's lower extremities, their arms and their feet, if they're crossing, uncrossing the legs, fidgeting the hands. But again, you have to compare it to the baseline. If they're normally a fidgety person, then what you're looking for is a cessation of movement. So pay attention to the lower extremities. Also, when people lie, it's very cognitively demanding, so you want to look for signs that the gears are turning a little bit harder. So something that's correlated with that is blinking. Blinking equals thinking. More blinking, more thinking. You're thinking, is this possibly true? Of course it is, it rhymes, people. Another indication that people are thinking a little bit harder, their speech will slow down as they're trying to work out their lie. There'll be more ums and ers and ums, and it slows down. But if people normally speak slowly, again, you look for the variation in the baseline. They may speed up their speech. Another thing that you want to look for when you're, yeah, it's pretty funny, right? Another thing that you want to look for is differences in the details in somebody's speech. True stories tend to be unstructured. Think about all the boring stories where sat through, people bounce around, they have to back up, fill in the gaps, and there's a lot of superfluous details. Like a friend of mine recently was telling me a story about this great lunch that he had. The point of the story was about the food, but somehow he veered off and talked about the waiter, who he said, quote, had the most peculiar mole. It was shaped like a sad donkey wearing a sombrero. I don't even know what that means. It's not relevant to the food at all, but the point is, fake stories have those kinds of superfluous details. False stories generally don't. Why? Because people are just trying to get in and out and convince you of the central agenda, the facts leading up to the lie. Also, people will sometimes take on more formal language, so they'll drop out the contractions. Another indicator that sometimes people are lying is reproduction of speech. Normally, when people are talking about a conversation they had, they'll reproduce it verbatim. They'll say, and I said blah, 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 and they said blah, 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 blah. A liar typically will leave that out, only give you the briefest of descriptions of what happened, a summary of the conversation. So, how do you get away with a lie? Well, you need to internalize it. You need to believe your own lie. The greatest lies we tell are the ones we tell ourselves. So if you can build a rich inner life for your own lie, it'll naturally harmonize with your baseline behaviors and no one will be the wiser. Now, I know many of you are in need of one-on-one coaching for lying. Valentine's Day is coming up. So, if you need some help, please feel free to contact me. Because my favorite thing in the world, my favorite thing in the world is bacon. But my second most favorite thing in the world is desperate emails from random strangers. So I will be your MacGyver, I will be your A-Team, I will be your Remington Steele. Please come find me in the break, buy me a drink. I'd love to help you tell the perfect lie. Thank you.